Hi, welcome to Filmology. I'm Mariana, and today we'll be talking about my 10 favorite movies of the year. Now, disclaimer, I have not seen all the movies that came out this year, like Carol, Bridge of Spies, American Sniper, yada yada yada, but I've seen plenty of really good ones in order to make this list. So, let's get started! First of all, let's start with the special commendations because, as I said, I've seen lots of really good films, but some of them didn't quite make the top 10 list. These films are which is actually the title of the film. It's an amazingly unique film about a world where people behave like apes, essentially, and it's very strange, it's very different from anything you would ever see, and Noah Fielding gets his dick bit off, so, you know, it's fun for everyone, the whole family. Also Kingsman, which is a super fun, exciting action film. It's like James Bond meets Kick-Ass. It's super gory, it's got great special effects, fantastic acting, really good script. It's just a really fun time. Also Inside Out, which is Pixar bringing back the magic to Disney. It's a really sweet story which can really be seen as a metaphor for depression, which is a very interesting way of relating that kind of message to children, and I really liked it. Finally, Dope, which was dope. It's a fantastic story of three nerds who are really into 90s hip-hop culture, and they get thrown into this huge plot of rich businessmen, naked models, and drug dealers. It's really fun and I highly recommend it. Also, the music's great. Now on to our top 10. Ooh. Number 10 is Welcome to Me. It's a funny but not pandering film about Kristen Wiig's character who has mental illness and she wins the lottery and she buys herself a TV show. And it really goes into the inner mind of someone with that kind of illness, and it doesn't really romanticize it or condone any of her actions. It just sort of tells her story and with her interactions with other people, and it's oftentimes uncomfortable and awkward, but it's not really like schadenfreude, like you're not really making fun of her or any of the people around her. He just tells the story and it's really great film. Number 9 is The Overnight, which is a sex comedy focused more on the psychology side of it, of how these adults are trying to make friends as adults, which is difficult to do, about these people trying to relate to each other with their spouses, with their friends, with their new acquaintances, with their children. And while it gets a bit over the top in the middle and it gets a bit outrageous, it's really sobering in the end, and it's a really great film to explore all kinds of sexuality and human nature. Number 8 is Love and Mercy. It's the duality of Brian Wilson's life from The Beach Boys. It's told in two timelines, in the 1950s and the 1980s. And same characters played by Paul Dano and John Cusack, and what that does is show all these different layers to his personality, all of the ways in which he's vulnerable and he falls apart at the seams, and how that breaks him, and the different timelines really show in a really interesting way how he succumbed to his mental illness, and how, you know, how vulnerable and how great it was when he was saved by his wife. And it's told through music and beautiful imagery, and the acting is really great. It's probably the best part about it, because the actors are not the same, they act differently, but they really show that a person changes a lot, and the way that Brian Wilson changes is striking and scary and very sad, and the film conveys that really well. Number 7 is Krampus! Finally, horror movies for Christmas are back! I'm so excited, I love this movie so much. It's funny actually. I laughed a bunch during it, but it's genuinely scary. Like, the visual effects and the sound effects are really great, and there's a real sense of dread throughout the entire film, especially at the end. And the monsters look amazing. Even the small amount of CGI looks really good. The actors are all great, but I think that the look of Krampus really makes it. It's quite frightening, and it's pretty great. Number 6 is Bone Tomahawk, which is disturbing, gruesome, and gory as fuck. I didn't really know anything about this movie going in. I just watched it, and it was pretty amazing. I loved it. And there's Kurt Russell, of course, so that was already great because I love Kurt Russell. He's amazing in it, but there's all these really great characters and these really great monster characters. They're like cavemen, really. And there's something really fascinating about them. It's kind of like the Mad Max world, you know? Like, it's kind of like that world, but in the Wild West, which is fun to watch. It's kind of like mixing these two cultures. Number 5 is Turbo Kid. 80s revival, made perfect, heartfelt, fun plot, interesting characters, amazing effects, especially the gore effects, which were inspired by early Peter Jackson, which is great. It's set in the post-apocalyptic future of 1997, which is perfect. It's got really fun little touches to the world. It doesn't really scream like, this is what we're trying to do. It just sort of, you know, takes you through the world. And the main character is awesome. He's got his best friend called Apple, and she's one of my favorite characters ever. And the music is also fantastic. It's all synthesizers, so it's very 80s. So it feels like you're watching a movie made in the 80s instead of a movie inspired by the 80s. Number 4, it's Ex Machina. Gorgeous, terrifying, yes. But also simple, subdued, mysterious, fascinating, great interaction between the characters, great sound, great look to it. It looks very sharp, it looks very clean, it looks very futuristic, but also feels very present. It's quite different from AI movies like iRobot, AI, or Blade Runner, because it doesn't really hit you in the face with the AI. It's kind of takes you through it calmly and sort of doesn't flood you with jargon. It's smarter than that, and I really like that. Number 3 is The Force Awakens, the perfect Star Wars movie made for 2015. I almost forgive J.J. Abrams for Into Darkness because of this film. Almost. Into Darkness is really bad, but it's got fantastic new characters. It gives something for the older characters to do, which is great. Harrison Ford looks like he cares about what's happening, so that's new. It looks really good. It doesn't have any lens flares. It looks like a Star Wars movie should look. And it's got those awesome PowerPoint transitions. It's got really fun action. The lightsabers are really good looking. It looks really sharp. It looks really interesting. And I love the construction of the worlds. And even though it looks a bit, it's a bit too much like The New Hope, I don't mind. It's fine. A New Hope is a good movie. I don't mind it. It's cool. It's cool. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna, you know, do next with these characters. Number 2 is New World Towers, the Blur documentary. This is probably the only list ever to have that movie on, especially at the very top. But I'm a really big fan of Blur. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. And this documentary is really great. It shows, it's like part documentary, part concert. So they have the Hyde Park Magic Whip tour concert and the Hong Kong concert, because the Magic Whip was recorded in Hong Kong, in case you don't know. And the documentary sort of shows how they got back together, how their relationship changes and everything, and it's really fun to watch that and to experience that. And the music's great, and I love Blur so much. It's great. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a really good film. Alex James cooks eggs, so. Finally, numero uno, it's Mad Max Fury Road, the perfect action movie. It's a triumphant return to a very old series, which is something that's very rare these days. Terminator, filled with gorgeous visuals, stunning practical effects, great female characters, great leading action female characters, which is the best thing ever. We haven't had such a badass female lead since, fuck, Ripley, or, you know, Sarah Connor. Furiosa's great. It's got really fantastic look to it. The desert looks dry and hot and awful and really like a Mad Max movie should look. And I think that, you know, Tom Hardy really does it justice. Sorry, Mel Gibson. There's no more room for anti-Semites in the Australian outback. These are my top 10 films. Please let me know at the bottom what are your top 10 favorite films, or top 5, or top 3, or top. And thank you for watching.